Okay. Can you see me now? Okay. Sorry, everybody. I don't know what happened there. I don't think I touched anything.
You just lost. Yeah, the chat room still, you can still see
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. I got back up in the chat room. Cool. Let me pan back up to see where I left off. Reese's Pieces. Wow, I'm pretty far behind. Okay, so I think I left off with Sunny V, who says, "Will you give us an announcement through email or Moodle for the Flash current event streams?" Yes. And typically, I think this is exactly where I left off. Typically, um, I will, if I get involved in a really good zone here on a particular current event, I will run it through the office hour, and then I'll say, okay, I'm going to make this into a quiz. And it usually takes me overnight to make the questions and set it up. And so even if you're tuning in live, the quiz typically won't open until the next day. And so I will send out an email saying, by the way, for those of you that watched last night, the quiz is now up and live for that stream. Other things that, other flash quizzes that occur that may not happen here on Twitch because I've recorded stuff from around the world and just sometimes sit in front of my computer and we'll do a spiel. Those also will, you'll get a heads up via an email saying, by the way, new flash quiz is going live on Thursday and it'll be open for 24 hours till Friday, or opening on Wednesday, open for 24 hours till Thursday. So I'll say, here's what's going on. Here it is. Go for it. It's never a mystery. I don't hide them. There's no point in me creating something I'm going to hide. So you'll be well informed. Back to Sumble4, who says, for Geography of Wine, I've created a blog. Do I need to make any post for an assignment yet? Or is that I need to create a blog by January 28th and then I do not need to post anything until the 3 blogs due February 18th? Yes, there is a mandatory first blog. Apparently everybody's missing this in the syllabus. You need to go to the next page. In fact, I now know it because I've answered this 3 times already. The top of page 14 in the syllabus. Page 13 tells you how to create a blog. Then the very next page says, and this is the first mandatory blog you must do. And it describes in detail what you're supposed to blog about. And that one is due this Sunday. So go check out top of page 14. Right after you read about how to do a blog, just flip one more page and it shows you what to do. And I'll send out an email about that too. Okay, as a heads up reminder, probably midweek. It's All Good 44 has got me 3 Velociraptor heads up in this hizzle. Let's see. First time chatter from Reese's Pieces, or Reese Pieces. Reese Pieces says, so how about that World Leader Death Watch, LOL? Is that something that'll happen this semester? I've got a few hospitalized world leaders I'd like to get down sooner rather than later. I like that fighting death spirit, Reese Pieces. Let's do it. I don't think we've even created a death watch for the last several semesters because I talk about it in that video that you've watched, and then I reference them here on online office hours, but then no one ever responds to me. So here is how we set up the World Leader Death Watch, and it requires you, the students, to do it. I'm not going to do it. You all have to do it. And what you have to do is, enough of you have to email me the people that you want on the Death Watch. For those of you that have not watched that video, or you're in the wine class and never took World Regions, or people just hanging out in Twitch who are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? The World Leader Death Watch that we do is that the students will pick 9 world leaders, that the 9 world leaders that they believe might not survive till the end of this semester. And we'll put them in a tic-tac-toe board. And once you all have provided me enough suggestions, I'll put them on the board and mail it back to everybody and say, is this how you want your board set up? And if any time throughout the semester, any 3 world leaders that you have chosen die or are ejected from office, they don't have to necessarily die, but if they're thrown from office, and the 3 that you pick form a line up and down, sideways, or diagonally, then everyone in the course gets 500 points or some ridiculous thing like that. So, who is a candidate for World Leader Death Watch? They have to be an active player in something happening in the world right now. Meaning, you can't pick Jimmy Carter just because he was president of the United States 40 years ago, because he is on death's door, literally, but he's not an active world leader right now. It doesn't have to be necessarily a prime minister or president of a country actively right now. It also could be world economic leaders or a leader of an international organization or what's the word I'm thinking of? Terrorist leaders, people who make the news. So newsworthy, important humans on planet Earth that can change the tide of human history at this current juncture. They are our candidates. So we actually had Osama bin Laden on the World Death Watch for a very long time, and the same semester Saddam went down, somebody else did, like Muammar Gaddafi, I think. That was the closest we ever came in a semester. We had 2 on the board that died. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a political leader, although that's mostly what we're looking at. And you want to think about world leaders more in terms of, don't just look for old people who are getting ready to die, because most of them are not in office. Well, except Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But be thinking about people that might be thrown from office. Countries that are on some significant political instability that could be ejected at any given point. I've long thought that the president of Syria was going to get ejected, but somehow he survived a decade through the whole civil war that he helped perpetrate bunches of crimes in. I'm trying to go around the world right now. Benjamin Netanyahu would not be a bad pick. If you know anything about what's going on in Israel and Gaza right now, Netanyahu, he's not going to get killed, but he is likely to be somehow impeached or an early vote called, or he already was under indictments for multiple financial crimes, and he's been trying to seize more power in Israel before this whole current war even began. So he's on shaky ground. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be kicked out of office in the next 3.5 months, but that is a volatile situation. He is an unpopular leader leading a war. He was unpopular before the war started. He is more unpopular now, and he is a source of significant conflict both within his country and amongst countries. That is a good candidate. Anything could happen in his tenure in the next 4 months. There are a lot of African leaders that lead tenuous lives in terms of perhaps political instability or losing their position. Then you've got folks that lead terrorist organizations that are currently under attack. They're always under attack, but right now a lot of Iranian folks who work in the military field have been targeted recently. The leadership of the Houthi rebels in Yemen has been targeted recently, targeted with drones, and people are getting killed. So there are a lot of active folks who could not survive this semester, either literally not survive or not survive their political term in office. By the way, you can't pick a president who's getting ready to leave the office anyway because a vote is coming. That doesn't count. So it has to be somebody that's unpredictably going to lose power or lose their life in the next 4 months. I'm trying to think of other good candidates. Vladimir Putin's safe in Russia. He's going nowhere ever. Xi Jinping in China is never leaving. These are leaders that 100% will never, ever leave office or die in the next 3 months or even perhaps 30 years. So there are some ones to stay away from, but there's a lot of good folks out there in a lot of different turbulent situations for you to consider. So this is, for those of you that think this is too morbid, this is actually to get you to think about how the world works and where the turbulence is on planet Earth and who is likely to not survive something because of a situation that's occurring. I want you to actually know and understand those situations. So that's what the game is all about. And then, of course, everybody will get an A if it happens, but it's never happened yet. It's come close, but it's never happened in my 25 years of teaching. Okay, so rest pieces and everybody else, you have to email me your suggestions. And then we can get together next week and flush out a world leader list. And I would love to do that because I've not done it for years. Not enough students have engaged and wanted to do it. First time chatter from Paint1534 says, I'm so excited for Geography of Wine. Loved World Regions. Everybody here in World Regions is going to have a great time. Well, thank you for spreading the love along, Paint1534. I hope you love wine as much as you loved World Regions. Stumble4 says, awesome. Where can I find the details of that blog post? I think you're referring to page 14 of the syllabus, if it's, my memory serves. Cat101 says, can we get the story about how and why you were arrested? When was I arrested? Did I just mention I was arrested? When was I arrested? What did I say about being arrested? I mean, maybe I just said that in the last half hour, but I don't even recall what I said. I'm sorry, Katie, you'll watch the chats come in on the bottom, but refresh me of when I said I was arrested. I mean, I don't doubt it, and I have been, but I don't remember specifically.
Brazil, but you said you're almost.
I was almost arrested in Brazil. Yeah, I've almost been arrested in lots of different places when I try to create a podcast on the fly. They almost got us in South Africa. Those people were none too happy when I did that Mandela talk next to the statue, and they were like, you need to go, you need to go, you need to go. And we're like, okay. Oh, remember when we almost got kicked out of Guinness?
Yes,
We almost got arrested in Guinness. Those people were none too happy. They're like, you can't do this. You need permission. I'm just like, keep rolling. I'm going to keep talking while Katie's recording me. So yes, that's when I was almost arrested multiple times in multiple countries because lots of folks don't like it when you just pull out a camera and just start talking on the street. It seems completely normal in today's world because people are walking around talking to themselves all the time with their earbuds on. But you start recording anywhere, and the world's getting much, I don't know. Everybody's just really anal about it anymore. They're like, no, you need permission. You need permission to do anything. It's like, this is the world. I'm not asking anybody's permission to film in front of a international monument. But people get antsy and they want to get money from you, or they're idiots who are just trying to follow rules that some other idiots wrote. So, yeah, I'll remember. So we've been busted multiple times, or attempted to be busted in multiple places when we try to record videos on the fly for this class. And the one that got us the most consternation was the top floor of the original Guinness brewery in Ireland. And those people were pissed. And I just kept talking. They're like, you need to stop. And I'm like, yeah. I just kept talking. Did we ever even use that video footage? I don't think we ever used that footage either. Yeah, we should try to do that for the wine class since I'm now talking about it. And in Brazil, when I was in front of the big Jesus, those folks were like, you can't do this. And I just kept saying, no habla. And I'm trying to think where else. Greece, those people were assholes. Yeah, so in Greece, they want money so much that every single national monument and tourist site in Greece, all of them, and pretty much Greece is one giant tourist site for all the ancient ruins. The Greek National Park Service, or whoever the hell they are, they all carry whistles, and they just walk around blowing whistles all the time to interrupt people trying to record anything. They're just like, so you can't actually record or do anything. I suppose they're going to take it. No, you give us money. You can't do that without giving us money. You're like, oh, for God's sakes, it's a 3,000-year-old ruin. Why do you people think you own it? Anyway, that's just me being an asshole tourist. But an asshole trying to be an educational teacher tourist. So, almost arrested many times abroad. They hadn't got me yet. I've never spent time in a foreign jail yet that I can remember. My memory's not great, but I don't remember being in a foreign prison. Okay. Back to Aiden, who says, I have 2 golden retrievers, and your energy in those lectures reminded me of them. Well, thank you, Aiden. It just brings out the dog in me. Cat101 is putting up the Putin icon. That is the one we have if you subscribe. If you subscribe, a Putin icon can be yours as well. I mean, I don't really particularly care if you subscribe. We're not really trying to make money here. We're just trying to have fun. Let's see. Great Greg 01 subscribed with Prime. Just talking about subscription. Thank you, Great Greg. Really appreciate that. And Great Greg says, love both your classes. Best prof on campus. Well, thank you for that too, Great Greg. I should subscribe to you. Don't cheat in the Riz class. For reals. Thank you, Great Greg. First, and all the Putin icons he just got from subscribing. First time chatter from JT Nisho4 says, just stumbled on this. I took 3 or 4 of your courses almost 15 years ago. Mother of God, have I been doing this 15 years? Actually, it's 25. Best professor I ever had, learned the most in your classes, been a lover of wine since I took geography of wine. Just pay attention and show up to class and you will get an A, simple as that. Thank you, JT, for speaking the truth to the people. Just show up. And by the way, JT, you might have been one of the last people that took the wine class when I used to do it live. It's now all online. It's all recorded and online, and it's been morphed to include a bunch of assignments to get people to actually go out and taste and blog more, because that's really how you learn wine. So JT, if you would like to see the current iteration of the course, just email me, because my email hasn't changed in 35 years. It's the same when you took the class. Email me and we can get you into the course, because it's not through Virginia Tech. So if you'd like to follow along with the class this semester, you can see what we're doing online. And thank you for stumbling across the Twitch channel. I don't even know how you did that, JT. And JT says, and you are right, I don't remember my grades, but I remember the amount of stuff I learned from you. Folks, listen to JT Niche. He knows what's going on. He's proof in the pudding. He's proof in the proverbial pudding. Don't worry so much about grades. Worry about getting smart. Thank you so much, JT. You're too kind with all your comments. First time chatter from Andrew Rose, who says, hey, professor, if I joined this class late and didn't get to do the first week of assignment, is there any way I can make those up? You absolutely can, Andrew Rose, because today I just extended all of last week's assignments to be due this Friday. So you are good to go, my friend, Mr. Rose. Get on it, though, because now you have last week's work and this week's work all due on Friday. So don't dawdle, don't dabble, don't delay. Get on it today and get all the week's work done right now. I don't know what Sunny V is saying. Oh, no. Everybody's saying, oh, no, oops, uh-oh. So at 8:25 is when it crashed. Okay. So now I can forward through all this. Rest Pieces saying, how's the weather? And Kat suggested that I was kidnapped by enemies of the Plaid Avenger.
I was like, are we all those?
Thank you for all the concerned comments I see. Who be up worlding their regions, says Halo Starmax. Stumbledore walked across the duck pond. Good for you all. Okay. Let's see. The legend says, yo, chat, this real? Okay. Looks like I'm almost back. Am I back now? Okay. Rest Pieces saying, honestly, hats off for you. The thought of walking across frozen water like that is a bit terrifying to me. Yes. Walking across the duck pond, semi-terrifying. But even if you went through it, it's pretty shallow. You could get good and damn cold. You might lose a toe or two if you stay too long, but you wouldn't necessarily die. Let's see. Do you guys think the stream will come back? Okay. Let's see. Subbledore checked off his bucket list on walking across a frozen pond. Okay. Now Rest Pieces says he's back and we get an ad break. Andrew Rose again asked if they can make up work, so I've just answered that. Rest Pieces says, what a W. That's one that just may stay off my bucket list. When can we expect another movie quiz for World Regions? That's easy, Legend 421. Every single week, my friend. It will be activated on Saturday and due on Tuesday of every week, the entire semester long. And if enough people ask me for additional movies, I will actually throw in another one. If someone wants to suggest something new and cool that I've never heard of that fits the bill for World Regions, or for wine, I'll go out and research it and maybe even throw in 2 movies in a particular week if people like doing the films. Okay, let's see. Yes, send me an email. I'll reopen those quizzes for you. It's all good. Said, did the stream crash? Okay, we're back. Refresh, refresh, refresh. Only here for the Plaidcast is back in the hizzle. Welcome back, Only Here. For all you first timers in my class this semester, Only Here for the Plaidcast is legendary, as is Callista Malfoy. All right, they've been coming back for the Plaidcast for semesters and semesters now, and they are highly appreciated. Only Here for the Plaidcast says, if you have time for a current event, thoughts on Narendra Modi's inauguration of the Ram Temple on the site of the former Babri Mosque, fulfilling one of his party's founding missions. Is there substance to some reporting that India is moving closer to theocracy? Looking forward to my 14th year with you as my world news guide. Wow, thank you so much, Only Here for the Plaidcast. That is a high honor and a very good compliment indeed. But to Only Here's particular question, pardon me. Only Here, I actually saw that news story today too and did read about it. I've not been keeping up with news too much recently because I've just been too busy doing other things in the real world. But that is one that did catch my eye, and it is a very significant issue, a very significant story, I should say. So for those of you that just started up World Regions, you wouldn't possibly have gotten to chapter 23 yet, unless you're a really good student. I think chapter 23, or it's 22 or 23, is on South Asia, where India is the dominant huge country of South Asia. And you are correct, Only Here for the Plaidcast. I am a bit concerned, as are many world watchers, that Narendra Modi, that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is a hardcore ardent nationalist, for one. So a nationalist is someone who's like, rah, rah, our country's the best. And you might think, well, everybody in every country thinks that. Yeah, but some people are more passionate about it than others. So he is an ardent nationalist, and that's significant for India because they have had 4 border wars with Pakistan right next door. So a rah-rah hardcore nationalist is even of more significance and consequence to world events if they're in a possible conflict zone, which India and Pakistan are. So right off the bat, Narendra Modi, as a very ardent nationalist, has already kind of raised tensions between India and Pakistan. And what he did today raised it a notch more. So ardent nationalist already. Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India is also a ardent Hinduist. And what I mean by that is, we consider Hinduism in the West a religion. It kind of is. It's more of a kind of general life system, life belief system, which maybe you're like, that is a religion, but it's fuzzier when it comes to Hinduism, because Hinduism is just all-encompassing of every single aspect of life, whereas in the West, it's like, well, I have life, but then I go to church. So here's life over here, and here's my job, and here's what I do, and then I go to church, and that's the religious stuff I do. Hinduism is kind of not a religion because it's like it just permeates all levels of society. You don't go to Hindu church once a week. It's just the world. It's a world view that Indians have of themselves and their own unique history, and the way they practice everything, not just practice religion, but practice life. The best way I can explain it to you is the caste system, which you've probably at least heard passing reference to. The caste system is part of Hinduism. So the caste system is a whole social organization of the entire society for 3,000 years. Is that a religion? It's just the organization of the entire society for 3,000 years. So it's hard to call Hinduism a religion. So I'm going off on a side tangent of a lecture here, Only Here for the Plaidcast, to make this point. I don't know that Narendra Modi being a hardcore Hindu nationalist makes India into a theocracy. So a theocracy is a country, and again, for those of you who just started World Regions, you haven't even got to chapter 3 yet about states. And so you're going to learn this soon, but a theocracy is a type of leadership system, a type of governing system in which the head of the country is also the head of the religion. So the best case scenario is the Pope. He's head of the Roman Catholic Church worldwide, but he's also the president or head of the papal state, all right? So it's a state, but it's also a religion, and this one guy leads both the religion and the political state. Another great example is Iran. Iran is a political state, right? And they have a prime minister, or they have a president and a Congress and all this stuff. They don't have the real power. The Ayatollah Khamenei has the real power. He is truly the leader of a political state. He also happens to be the leader of their religion. So Iran has in America, we have a division between church and state. We have that built into our Constitution. In a theocracy, they not only don't have that division, it's intentionally put together. So the head of the religion is the head of the state. Now, Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India. I've already now said, well, Hinduism's not really a religion. You don't have like a high pope of Hinduism. It doesn't exist. It's a way of life. There's no particular priest or person in charge of it. So you really can't have a theocracy in a place where there's no organized particular leader of this religion. And as I keep pointing out, Hinduism is something different than a religion anyway. So even if Narendra Modi made himself ruler for life, we would call that something closer to dictatorship, not really theocracy. So again, theocracy is theo, religion. Ocracy is rule by. So it's ruled by religion. It just wouldn't work. The definitions don't fit for India in particular and Narendra Modi's situation in India at this current time. To finish, to back it up, I said he's an ardent nationalist and he is an ardent Hinduist. So what I mean by that is he's rah-rah Indian first, and he's also rah-rah Hindus in India first. So kind of like MAGA, but it's HAGA. Make Hindus great again. I don't know what the acronym would be for that. But for those not in the know, India is a multicultural state, meaning it's not just one culture. It has lots and lots and lots of Hindu people in it, and Hinduism, again, is something between an ethnicity and a religion. So it's a little bit of everything rolled into one. So there's lots and lots of Hindus, the majority. There's also lots and lots of Muslims, of Islamic folks. And in fact, the biggest minority population on planet Earth is Muslims in India. There's something like 250 to 300,000. I'm sorry. 250 million Muslim folks in Hindu-dominated India. So India has 1.5 billion humans in it. 250 million of them are Islamic, but they're the minority. Just to keep it in context, 250 million is a population bigger than virtually all the countries on planet Earth, except the top 10 most populous countries. So the Muslim minority in India is the largest minority group on planet Earth. Now is what I'm talking about starting to make sense. Now I've explained enough that I can go back to Only Here's particular comments, where he's saying Narendra Modi's inauguration of the Ram Temple on the site of the former Babri Mosque. Now put all the things I said together, and hopefully you understand what I'm talking about of Narendra Modi intensifying angst within his country and between his country and Pakistan. Pakistan is virtually all Muslim. 250 Muslims in Hindu-dominated India. And Narendra Modi intentionally today, in the past he had a Muslim mosque knocked down, and they built a Hindu temple on its site, and he inaugurated it today. And what he's saying is, rah, rah, India first, rah, rah, Hindu India first. And I'm so openly proud of it, I, in broad daylight, am going to inaugurate a Hindu temple on the site where I destroyed a Muslim mosque. This raises the stakes and the cultural clash within India itself between Hindus and Muslims, and simultaneously raises the stakes between Hindu-dominated India and Muslim-dominated Pakistan, their next-door neighbor, in which they've already had 4 wars between these two states. And to finish, semicolon, both of these countries have nuclear weapons. It is the most likely flashpoint for an actual nuclear exchange on planet Earth. And it has been for some time. Yes, the United States and Russia hate each other. And yes, Russia is currently conducting a war in Ukraine where they might use nuclear weapons, or the NATO group might accidentally come up against Russia in a conflict in Ukraine, over Ukraine, or over the Baltic states, and a nuclear exchange could happen. However, the passions run actually much hotter between India and Pakistan, both nuclear-armed nations. And with Narendra Modi in charge, a lot of outsiders, including myself, are starting to get a little worried that he is raising the stakes to a potentially dangerous situation. Does that make sense? Did you learn anything yet? Because we're already off the hour. We already burned up an hour. And this is the type of thing that if you're really interested in this, I could do a whole half-hour, 45-minute lecture next week just on a topic like this, and then we can turn it into a flash quiz. If it helps you understand what's happening in the world, then I want to do it and want you to get points for it as well. Does that make sense? Only here for the podcast. So India can't become a theocracy. The terms just don't apply for India's particular situation. Narendra Modi is a very popular politician. He has a passionate following. He's all about India first and Hindus first. He is the equivalent of Donald Trump. He would be the Donald Trump of India. And I'm not saying their politics exactly align, but they are both conservative leaders that tend to play on I won't say the weaknesses, play on the passions of religious groups in order to gain popularity and do things that are popular to a majority of people, even if it's harmful to the minority of people in your country. India still is a very staunch and very dedicated and very true democracy. But Modi is gaining enough power, and he's starting to bend the rules and starting to curtail free speech and at least free press a little bit, that it is starting to worry outsiders. Slightly. He's still very popular. In the United States, by the way, is trying to forge a new era of relations between U.S. and India. So the U.S. is looking at this with a wary eye too, and really trying to encourage him to kind of stay democratic. And that is something that will continue to unfold in this semester and this year and the years to come. Thank you for that, only here for the podcast. And hopefully for you, again, first-time viewers, you see this is how we play the game. We talk about what's going on in the world, and I try to give you a little bit of insight. Give me a shout out if I just gave you any insight about this particular situation. Okay, let's see. Andrew emailed Katie. Rez Piece says Brazil. Rez Pieces ask of all my near arrest encounters. I think I did that. Emily, what's that? I don't think so. Let's see. Emily G says, not sure if you can answer this, but how have students in the past met up with each other for international films for world regions?
I discussed Discord.
You already discussed it? Okay. Katie already discussed Discord. Thank you for asking that, Emily G. That's a very good question. Grass Grape. Oh, good screen name, Grass Grape. Grass Grape says, hey, Prof, I'm in your wine class and currently drinking a Pinot, a Pinto Gurgo. I think you meant to say Pinot Grigio. What have you been drinking, and how do you have any recommendations? I don't even know what I'm drinking. Our bartender just gave me a glass of red. Oh, you got it? Oh, I didn't realize that Renegade's from Ancient Peaks. It's pretty good. A little fruity for me, but it would be good for students. First-time drinkers would like the red wine that I'm drinking. Let's see who's drinking a Coke. Aiden's drinking a Coke, the best kind of wine. Let's see. Only here for the podcast says, thank you. That all makes sense. I already caught up, Katie. What are you talking about? And Cat101684 says, I live right behind the Hindu temple in Sri Venkateswara. Did I get close? Sri Venkateswara. temple in New Jersey, and it always seems to be expanding and renovating. They recently bought out some people's houses that neighbor them in order to expand again because so many people come to the temple from across New Jersey and surrounding states. Yes, very good observation, Kat. There is a significant population of Indian folks here in the United States, and by the way, in the Caribbean. There are several islands in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago specifically, that have some of the biggest populations of ethnic Indian folks outside of India. But there is a significant and growing population of Indians in America that actually really love Donald Trump. Most of them do. And they're becoming pretty politically powerful in a limited way. I shouldn't overstate this, but a lot of ethnic Indian folks that have migrated, moved to the United States, they do form kind of tight communities. They do keep in touch. They do organize, and they are a growing force. And again, I say growing economic and political force. We're still talking about, a very small minority, according to the United States total population of 350 million. But it's growing. It's very interesting. And there is a very open admiration between a lot of Indian folks for the MAGA movement and for Donald Trump. And again, you're going to find this out real quick in my class. If not, learn it now. I don't care. I do not particularly care about the upcoming election. I, like all of us, have passionate feelings about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, but I'm not here to espouse or denigrate or advertise for either one of them specifically. I, again, mention U.S. leaders only in the context of something bigger I'm trying to teach. So back to the Indian population, there is a lot of similarities between Narendra Modi and Donald Trump in terms of their populism and their nationalism and their tendency to use or affiliate with religious stuff. So a lot of Indian folks kind of admire the Donald Trump thing, and there is this kind of strange bond that's happening between the U.S. and India and between Indians in the U.S. And, say, the Republican Party of the United States. It's very fascinating. I find great fascination with looking at these things in general, because what you have there is it's not that all Indian people that come to America are Republican. They're not. But there must be something culturally that's very similar between the average Indian, average Hindu Indian, and, say, the MAGA movement. There's some cultural affiliations, even though they're worlds apart culturally, just looking at them. But there's a tie there that I can't describe to you, but I find it fascinating. Okay, let's see. The Legend says W stream. Thank you, Legend. Holden watching Twitch says, I was wondering if you had any insight on the recent Taiwan elections, as the Democratic Progressive Party is very anti-China. All eyes are on China's response to their recent victory in elections. Actually, Holden watching Twitch, that is a giant question. And we are actually 6 minutes over our online office hour already, so I might have to hold that for next time. We are going to definitely be talking about the Taiwan elections that just occurred, and we're going to be talking about Taiwan a lot. I won't say a lot. It is a topic that we should talk about at least a time or two this semester as things are unfolding and things are changing, and the status of Taiwan will be affecting world events, and therefore the leader of Taiwan will be affecting world events according to what he does or does not do policy-wise or military-wise or any otherwise. So that is something we should explore in more detail, but it will be a longer talk than I have time for at this moment. We will see, and we will talk more. And I will end with this. Please hit me up. Obviously, Holden wants to hear about the DPP and Taiwan situation, so hit me up on email. By the way, I forgot to do this. Anybody who's currently in this chat room, it is 9:07. It is 9:07. If you are currently hearing me right now, email me in the next 60 seconds. And all you have to put in the email is your actual name. So not your screen name, but your actual name. And then the password is a DPP. the DPP, which is a political party in Taiwan. So email me right this second. Give me your real name and say password DPP, and you just earned 5 points of extra credit. Boom! Yes, and if you took it 14 years ago, I'll add it onto your grade retroactively. And to finish up the chat before we close it down here, Cat101 says some of my best friends immigrated from Trinidad and Tobago, and I've gone some events at Temple with them. Yeah, big Indian population in that country as well. Those countries, actually it's one country called Trinidad and Tobago. X-Pac-Man says this matches my experience in the workforce as well. Ba-boom. Sunny V says, how come you have viewership overlap with VTubers playing Fortnite? What's that mean? I don't even know what that means. I don't know what Fortnite's a video game. So I don't know, Sunny V. Like I said, I'm old. I actually don't even understand the whole Twitch thing, but I like it. Twitch is awesome. Love you, Big T, Twitch. And we should also next week do what we call storming another. What is it, Katie, when everybody, all the followers here go into raid, or we should do a raid. Somebody at the beginning of next week's Twitch cast remind us to do a raid into someone and give me some people that we should raid. Okay, but I think I've caught up. Oh, the subject line doesn't matter. Subject line can be DPP, that's fine. And we'll get you 5 points. All right, well, we'll have hopefully even more great interaction. This has been a great start. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you learned a little something. I know we had a few people from wine class. Most of you are world regioners, a whole mess of folks who are already graduated. So thank you all for tuning into this. And based on your comments and your wishes and what you want to talk about, we shall pick up the storyline again this same plaid time, same plaid channel next week. But email me your most requested current event stories you would like to talk about or any other questions you have about anything in the world. But for now, as always, have a great evening. Have a great semester. And for right this second, party on. And we'll see you next week.